512 here on your hometown station, KHTS. The banks fear him. There are bad faith actors who jeer him. But you know why? That's only because he's fighting for us. He's got the knowledge. He's got the ability to stand up and fight for you and me. He is Richard Szerman in the building. Richard, how are you?
I'm doing great. I love that introduction. I'm going to record that and play that one. I'm going to have that played whenever I enter a room from now on. Thank you.
Please
that is the best.
Use it as your voicemail.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the best. Thank
He
you.
is
for that.
Rich Szerman, I should mention, of Alta Realty,
Yeah.
changing the game for close to 30 years now. Designing programs to help buyers and sellers, rental rebate, resale renovation, free loan modification, all of these programs we've spoken about ad nauseum here on the afternoon drive. But they're still apt, they're still viable, and they're very much relevant to today.
Yeah. No, today I've
Who
got,
are we going after today?
Well, whenever I come across anything that's, there's no nice way to put this, fraud. It takes, God bless our regulatory agencies and the people who enforce these things, law enforcement, it takes them a while to catch up to financial crimes. They do catch up, but it takes a while. And in the meantime, people who commit these crimes are able to do more damage. And I see a lot of this because we do free foreclosure defense. So when people come in, they, here's how I got here. And some of that, most of it is, okay, well, you didn't pay your mortgage. We got to fix that. We'll see what we can do. There's all sorts of things, all sorts of remedies we can come up with for you. But because banks typically want to work with you, but occasionally you get one where it's just like, oh no, that was fraud. They can't do that. That's ridiculous. And we got one today. And before I get too into it, there are two concepts we need to understand. They're very straightforward. Everybody thinks they know what they are, but I brought along notes because I wanted the dictionary definitions.
No, you didn't bring notes. You brought a packet.
I did. I
It's
brought
great.
a whole package. I didn't want to miss anything. So the first one I want to talk about, there are two concepts. One is called bait and switch. The other is, fraud. Now, everyone knows fraud is illegal. You throw that word around, fraud, they know that. But mortgage fraud in particular. So first of all, bait and switch, it's defined as a kind of fraud in which the mortgage lender lures consumers by advertising loans at a lower interest rate so that consumers can submit their application for a low mortgage rate. Afterwards, the lender reveals that the particular loan offer is no longer available and then offers to substitute a loan program that is at a comparatively higher interest rate for which typically the lender receives a higher amount of compensation. Fraud's a little bit easier. FBI defines mortgage fraud as any material misstatement, misrepresentation, or omission relied upon by an underwriter or lender to fund or purchase or insure a loan. So bait and switch, offer you one thing, get you in a position where you have no choice but to accept another at a much higher interest rate that usually makes the lender more money. That's bait and switch. Mortgage fraud, don't lie when you're going to get a loan. If you lie when you're getting a loan, you've committed fraud. And a lie of omission is a lie just the same. So I have clients, very nice people. They're an elderly couple. I shouldn't say elderly; they'll be mad at me at that. But they are both in their 60s. But very, very nice folks and very, very smart people actually. So this can happen to anybody. We just want to point this out. So their situation is, in December of 2018, they were buying a house in new housing tract up here in Canyon Country. It's 55 years or older. It's called Aliento. So they're moving into that. So they'd sold their house. That house is in escrow. They were in escrow to buy a house up here. They had to close when their house closed, they still don't have the loan ready to buy the new house. And this happens sometimes, but I don't let this happen in my practice, but this does happen sometimes. And so they were forced to finish the sale on their house and move into a hotel. So they're in a hotel waiting for loan approval so they can move into their new house, right? The house has been completed. Lender comes to him, and this is a lender whose name we're going to talk about in a minute because I really think people need to know who he is. I want to do my humble part to help make him famous.
I love it.
Anyway, lender comes to them at the hotel and says, gee, guys, can't get you the loan I promised you. Sorry. And that mortgage payment of $2,500, $3,000 a month, that's out the window. But we do have this other mortgage payment, this other loan. Now, as it happens, your payment's going to be $4,500 a month, which is true, slightly higher than the I had offered you before.
Yeah.
Almost double. But it's either that or stay living in the hotel. And they said, well, okay, that mortgage, that sucks, but at least we'll get out of the hotel. I mean, this is ridiculous. We used to have a house and we're living in a hotel. We're waiting for this to happen. But wait, there's more. He says, in order for you guys to qualify, you have to pay off a little over $50,000 worth of debt. And they say, well, we don't have the money to do that. If we had the money to do that, we wouldn't have that debt. You knew about that debt from the day you met us. I mean, this isn't news. Well, here's the thing. Because I'm your buddy and I'm your pal, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to loan you $52,000. And what we're going to do is I'm going to loan you that money. You're going to sign here, sign here. I'm doing you a big favor at 12% interest, by the way.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going to do this big favor. You're going to pay off your debt. And then, we won't tell the mortgage lender about this debt. It'll just be a secret debt. And then after the mortgage lender gives you your loan, then we can go ahead and I'll attach my lien to your house and you just pay me back. Again, at 12% interest. That, by the way, right there, that is the very definition of mortgage fraud. A lender creating a secret debt, paying off a client's debts, not telling the first mortgage lender, the proposed first mortgage lender, about it in application, getting the loan, and then attaching their lien is the absolute definition of mortgage fraud. It doesn't come more obvious than that. I mean, if this were, I think this, if this were a law enforcement example, they'd say, yeah, but you never see it that straightforward.
Yeah.
But here it is, and it is that straightforward, and that's why I want to call it out. So, the fellow who was helping him out, his name is Adrian V. Enriquez, and he is that rare, special combination of, well, ignorant and arrogant that is just so prevalent in the mortgage industry. And my biggest problem with Mr. Enriquez is he's put my clients into a position where they can't sell their house and they can't keep their house. They can't sell it because it's over encumbered. They owe more on the first mortgage than it is worth. It's very important that you understand. They owe more on the first than it is worth. Mm-hmm. So if this house goes to foreclosure, the second gets zero, nothing. Important to remember that. So anyway, and they can't keep the house because they can't afford it. And also, like most people, it's not just their mortgage payment. They have a payment to a solar company they have to make, equipment. They have an HOA that they have to pay, taxes, insurance, all these other things that go into a mortgage payment, none of which is getting paid, all of which is backing up. And they may be held liable for it even after a foreclosure, some of it anyway. So we're doing the best part. But anyway, so we tried to do a loan modification for them, and the bank came back. It's Fannie Mae, so it's a government loan.
Yeah.
The bank came back and said, you can't do a loan modification. Frankly, we don't know how you got this loan approved to begin with. And no. And they'd lost a job, which had started all this. So, okay, can't get a loan modification. We need to do a short sale. There's Fannie Mae's suggestion, totally called for. We have to do a short sale. So they have to sell the home. It's unfortunate, but that's just where we're at. Very long story short, we go to do the short sale. We get approval. Now, when you have a first lien, second lien, third lien, the reason that they're labeled like that, first, second, third, is it has to do with the order on title. In other words, the preference. First comes first, second comes second. So if you are a junior to somebody else, you are a junior lien. Now, if a property goes to foreclosure, and I don't want to bore people with this, but if a property goes to foreclosure, the first gets the house. The second gets anything left over, if there is anything, and so on and so forth. There's rarely anything left over. In this case, as we talked about, they owe more on the first mortgage than the house is worth. Even with real estate values going up like they have, because their payment is $4,500 a month and they're not paying it, that house is racking up debt of $4,500 a month. That is going up faster than the real estate market is going up. They owe more on the house than it's worth. So we get approval from the first. First says we will give the second a maximum of $6,000. That is what is published. That is what you can have. That's it. That's the maximum. I was surprised they offered to give the maximum because, again, over encumbered. They don't have to give them anything.
Sure.
Second said we want $76,000 on a $52,000 debt that's only 2 years old. How do you explain that? Even 12% I don't think justifies that. Nope, we want $72,000 or 74 or 76. I don't even know. It's so ridiculous. That is not possible. Again, it's over encumbered. So we go back and forth, back and forth. They will now accept $30,000. So, well, the problem is they're offering you 6 and they're offering you any more. That deal died. We go back and do it again. The same process repeated itself. And I understand they can refuse to accept a short sale. That's their prerogative. Although I've never seen a bank do this before. But what they cannot do is refuse to do that, again, after committing bait and switch and fraud, both of which are illegal, to then not agree to this, which cleans it up and gets the obligates out of a bad situation that this guy single-handedly seems to have caused. But it puts them in a situation where, again, they can't sell it, they can't keep it. He's not going to get anything out of this. No reputable lender behaves like this.
What are the repercussions for this guy, Enriquez?
Well, so far, they've retained counsel now, so they are represented. My wife took on yet another hard luck case because she does that. I ask her to, and she does that. I know everybody says everybody wants me to bring her in so everybody can meet her, but because she's frankly the smarter of the duo and the more interesting of the two of us, because she's the attorney. I'm just the realtor. Anyway, she's representing him now, and he's left with no choice but to file suit. They've also complained to various state and federal agencies, and I'm sure cases are open, investigations are open. What will happen? It's going to take a couple of years typically, but what will happen is typically somebody like this loses their license. When you've committed fraud, you lose your license. There are hearings, there's something, and there's also a civil case that will go on, no doubt, because what he has done to these clients is absolutely ridiculous. He stole from them. Fraud is theft. Bait and switch is theft. It just is. Now, if he has a defense to these things, I have no idea, because one of the things that a lender has to do if you ask for loss mitigation, they have to give you, this is the law in California, they have to say, this is why we're turning you down. They can say no. Heck, it can be a fairly ridiculous reason, but they have to give you one. This guy has refused to do that. He's refused to do any analysis. He actually looks at Zillow and says, well, I have a feeling the house is worth more because this is not a short sale market. But what gives you that feeling? Here's data. Here are the comparable sales. Here's the appraisal. Here's what it's worth. Yeah, I think it's worth more. Why? No answer.
Gut feeling.
Yeah, he just feels that way.
Yeah,
Which is
vibes.
totally irresponsible, and you can't do it. But again, same guy who committed fraud to begin with. So again, the scam is, I got a loan for you. It's the best loan in the whole wide world. Oh, sorry, I can't get you that loan, but I got this other loan that you now have to take under duress because of the situation that I've put you in. He's put them in. Take this loan or else. I mean, they usually deposit you lose and everything else, not to mention no place to live, so you're stuck taking that loan. And when you take that loan, in order to help you out, I'm going to pay off your debt, which you didn't know you had to pay off, but I've known about since day one. I'm going to do you this big favor and loan you this money on this house you're buying at 12% interest, because I'm a sport, I'm a helper.
Incredible.
I'm a helper.
Incredible.
And then we're going to commit loan fraud together, which you don't know about because you don't know what you're doing. And this guy claims to be a lender who's been around for 10 years. He's done all these loans. He's the greatest thing ever. I love this guy. He has, again, Adrian V. Enriquez. He shows up with companies called A-Team Lending, Network Funding Group, OGI Mortgage Bankers, EM Capital Incorporated, United Trust Escrow, and I'm sure some others I haven't found. Because, all reputable. He's just a busy guy.
A-Team, United, things that would make it seem like he's reputable. Question, Richard, do any of these people, including this guy Enriquez, and you brought up several of these individuals over the months and years that we've been interviewing.
Yeah.
Do any of them confront you in public when they see you?
They're welcome to. If Adrian wants, we talked to the station about it. I think you're doing a story on it. I'm sure they'll reach out to him. I'd like to go on the radio with him. I'd love it.
I would
Put him
love
in a chair.
that.
Let's chat about this. I think it'd be great. But see, guys who do this sort of thing, they're women too. I don't want to be sexist about theft, about fraud. Anyway, the people who do this sort of thing, speed of gender neutral. People who do this sort of thing, it's usually men, who do this sort of thing, feel that what they've done is right, and you go, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it in public. Oh, no, I was.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if it's right, I have no trouble talking about what I do in public. Anyone wants to ask me anything, anytime. I'm very much an open book. But yet, when you do something wrong, you can't. I have a friend of mine who used to put it this way. He would say, those people who tell the truth do not run from scrutiny.
Right.
Welcome it. People who behave poorly run from scrutiny. So I'd love it. If he wanted to come in, it would make me so happy. We'd have such a good time. I would love it if he would come in, and if we could set up, the station would allow it, we'd set up a little debate. We'd talk about it. Let's just talk about this one file. I think it would be fantastic. I know the clients would love it. I certainly know the questions to ask. I've been asking him now for the better part of 2 years, and I haven't gotten any answers.
Is he declining to interview because of executive privilege? Richard Sherman of Alta Realty, always illuminating here on your hometown station, KHTS. You can go to richsherman.com. That is Sherman with a Z. So richsherman.com. Learn about all of his really innovative programs.
If any of your listeners have had these problems or having these problems, just call me on my cell phone. I answer 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. And if you've had the misfortune of coming across a character like Adrian V. Enriquez and A-Team Lending and what else is he? Network Funding Group and all these others. If you've ever come across this guy or anyone like him, give me a call. I can help you with it. We defend against this all the time.
So I was talking to one of the physical therapy companies that advertises at the station, Sky Adam Laraway. He does this whole body hacking thing where he's tracking his sleep and he's telling us how much water he needs to drink and how much sleep per night everybody needs to get. You run a 24-hour operation on call, you and your wife. Are you guys getting combined 8 hours of sleep a night?
It's not me and my wife. She makes it very clear. She does not work 24 hours a day.
You work 24 hours.
And when I say these things, she says, make sure anyone who calls at 2 in the morning, you let them know that's you.
Yeah.
So it's my side of the bed and her side of the bed. As far as that goes, but although there have been many times it's like she's woken up. So what's that? I need your help. I got to talk to this client. She's very nice about it. I wouldn't be if I was
under 6 hours of sleep last night.
I don't really sleep much. I've had insomnia since I was young, and I've sort of made it work for me as best I can. But I hibernate every so often, take a couple of days off, and just kind of sleep.
Excellent.
But I love it. I love what I do. I love being able to defend people like this client from guys like this Adrian guy because he's just awful. He took advantage of an elderly couple in a delicate situation, in a dangerous situation that he put them in. Now they've lost their life savings. Now they've lost their home. They're liable for all these other things, and he doesn't have the decency to let them get on with it.
These fraud cases, as Richard mentioned, on the back burner, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah.
If you don't have someone like Richard and his wife fighting for you, then it's just going to be dangling in the wind for a while. So if you have come across any character like Richard has described today, any individual, if you're having these sorts of problems, give him a call at 661. His office number is 661-253-3000 or your personal number 661-714-1400. Always better to get me on my cell. I'm always running around. 661-714-1400.
1400. Oh, if you do call the office, they'll give you my cell. But call me or text me on that literally 24 hours a day. I'm happy to help. If you have a forbearance, it's got a problem, you can't get a deferment coming out of the pandemic, if your house is in foreclosure, somebody's coming after you, whatever, if it's a real estate thing, whatever it is, if I haven't seen it, I know the people who have. I've probably seen it in the 30 years I've been doing this. And again, I do it for free. So give me a call anytime. I'll be happy to help you out. Whatever your problems are, we keep an open door. We help
Awesome.
everybody.
Richard, thanks for coming in, man.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Yes,
I want an
please.
update on this case,
Yes,
please.
thank you.
It is 5:27. Quick break, live at traffic, and more of your Halloween holiday favorites coming up.